No, be quiet. This is Adam's special moment. Oh, how touching. What a curtain call. Yes, I really wish I could be there with you right now, Adam, but unfortunately, I cannot. Young Bucks, I must admit, I'm a little disappointed. The same man that tried to fire you less than 2 months ago is now standing in the middle of the ring, being showered with adulation from the crowd. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam. Well, Adam, you see, I feel like I have to send my special thanks too. Because, let's face it, your tenure in Bullet Club, your tenure in professional wrestling has been long, has been fruitful, has been storied. But just like all fairy tales, Adam, there has to be a hero, and there has to be a villain. Adam Cole, consider yourself officially fired.
What in the world did we just see? Omega watching this live somewhere? Where is he?
We're still pitch black here in New York City.
I have no idea what's going on right now. Somebody turn the lights back on.
What are you doing?
Whoa! Out of the darkness into the light.
What are you doing, Marty?
Take a look at that.
Marty Skrull, the villain, with a Bullet Club umbrella. Stereo super kicks on Adam Cole.
And Kevin, he's taking off the jacket
We can only assume.
to reveal the black and white of Bullet Club. And the ROH World Television Champion has made headline news around the globe. And has assumed the throne. I knew you poisoned it all along, Adam.
Adam Cole on the decline and rising as mightier as ever. Marty Skrull, the Young Bucks, the Bullet Club.
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
So addicted now to the world within. Now you see the wicked side of me. I've had enough, but it pulls me in. Now you see the wicked side of me. The wicked side of me.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another installment of the one and only Wrestling Matters podcast. How are we all doing this week? Hope you guys are well. In one of it is you were doing. This is entitled Bullet Club Bye Bye. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. I've got a lot to talk about this week, a lot to get through. On today's show, I'm going to talk Raw, Smackdown, as I always do, highs and lows, main points, talk about whatever. I'm also going to talk about Smackdown as well. Ring of Honor. Not just the Ring of Honor TV show. I'm also going to talk the Ring of Honor War of the Worlds. That's right. Pay-per-view. I might do that last, actually. Yeah, I might do Ring of Honor last this week just to fly into that. That might be in the last installment of this podcast. I might do that just to keep it on the safe side, because I don't want to do War of the Worlds one bit and then Ring of Honor TV show the next bit. You might as well just put them all together. But there's that as well. Impact Wrestling as well. We can't forget that. And yes, ICW as well. Good old Insane Championship Wrestling. Never stops or never ceases to amaze me. And it was actually interesting this week as well. But as I'm doing this, I haven't seen it yet, but you will get a review later on in this podcast. There's no question about that as well. Plus, like I said, Bullet Club bye-bye. Also, I'm going to talk in a minute about Jinder Mahal as well, and this main event push that he's getting. And later on as well, I'll give you my backlash predictions, or what were my backlash predictions for the show. All of that is to come on this podcast, which is on the Swerve Talk Network each and every week. You know the deal, guys. I say this every week. I know you're probably getting sick of it, but it's what I have to do. You know, keep it with the family. You know, it's all part of the deal. Deal's a deal, support, and all that. You've got to understand that now, guys. Sunday segue, Wrestling Unleashed with yours truly. Yes, I'll be back this week as well. I've had to take a 2-week hiatus because of work commitments. S&M show, Max Wrestling, check out their video stuff as well. The list goes on, guys. You know where it's at, guys. You can't deny it. Every week, Game of Thrones stuff as well. I'm not a big fan of that, but there's something there for everyone at the end of the day, and like I say, you will not be disappointed, so check that out as well. Also, the Wrestling Matters podcast is also on the Wrestling Matters channel, AJW Wrestling Matters, soundcloud.com as well. Look it up, Wrestling Matters podcast. Also, while you're there, look up Radio Big World, because we're on there as well. Look them up on SoundCloud, at WM Podcast, facebook.com/WM Podcast as well. Leave a like for more stuff. Show your support to the podcast. It will be greatly appreciated. Now, before I get to all this stuff as well, shout out to all the partners as well, RFPW as well. Check them out. It's coming this fall, guys. Their promotion is real. The little Twitch promotion as well. I'll promote that as well later on in the podcast as well towards the end. Also, facebook.com/Wrestle Island, facebook.com/Back to the Island as well for Mystery Island and Wrestle Island information. Also, at Talk Brunch on Twitter each and every Monday. My boy Rick Data, who'll be coming on the show very soon. Him and Rodriguez and everybody on there. Check them out. They go live each and every week. But like I say, for more information on when they do go live, because it's not just Monday they go live. They tend to go live other days as well. But if you want more information on that, at Talk Brunch on Twitter. And also, if you want, follow Rick Dara as well, at Rick Dara on Twitter as well. It is what it is. Right, guys, before I get to Jinder Mahal, I've been thinking of a lot of things that I'm doing. There's a streaming site. You've heard of Twitch. It's all a Twitch thing. You've all heard of it and that. I'm planning some stuff for the Wrestling Matters channel in terms of, videos. And maybe a few other things here and there as well to do with WWE 2K17. I don't know. I haven't really thought it out. But when I do, it will happen. Now, there's a streaming site on there called Beam. I'm looking to go on there as well. So I'm looking to use it hopefully for the Wrestling Matters channel and hopefully for my definitely for my games channel. That's a done deal for that as well. But I'm talking about the wrestling channel as well, because there's a lot of stuff. I am now Wi-Fi free. So as I'm speaking to you right now, as I'm doing this podcast, both my laptops that I use are Wi-Fi free. So hopefully I can watch YouTube videos and stuff like that and whatever else I need to do crisp, clean and free as well. Just like my PS4, that was being Wi-Fi free for a while now. But I wanted Wi-Fi out because Wi-Fi, holy shit, Wi-Fi is a pain in the ass, ladies and gentlemen, trust me. And if you ever think about streaming, no matter what it is you're doing, whether you're doing a blog, whether you're doing a video, whether you're doing game streams, whatever, do not use Wi-Fi. Oh my god. It will be the biggest pain in your ass, the biggest headache you'll ever have in your life. If you want to stream, if you want to do video recording and stuff like that, or whatever, or streams or anything like that, you need cables. A third cables, LDNs, you need that stuff as well. Get a router or a extension that goes from your router downstairs that you use for your internet connection and everything like that. Get it in, get about 3 cables, do what you gotta do, but that's the only way you can get rid of Wi-Fi and get rid of all that stuff as well, because at the end of the day, Wi-Fi is not only a piss take, when it comes to streaming and internet work and everything like that, it fucking sucks. It really does. You all have to start somewhere, I guess, but when you get the opportunity, and if you can get your opportunity, the cables are not dear at the end of the day. You can probably get some for free, depending on who you're with and depending on how you can get them and everything like that. But I think they're about £3 a pop, really, if I'm mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but they're not dear. They're not 20 quid or anything like that. They are cheap. You could pick a few up and everything like that. But if you could, depending on where your internet connection is, because if you're upstairs in your bedroom doing your work, like I am, and your cable and your router is downstairs, you're going to need a long cable. A really long cable to go from downstairs upstairs. You know, if you're in your bedroom and your router's there with you, you know, you're laughing all the way to the bank basically. But you need to work that out as well if you want to get that done. If you want, get your cable. Say if you're in your bedroom like I am, get your cable upstairs and get this extension or routers and get 3 cables as well. But as I'm talking to you right now, my laptops and my PS4 are internet free. Yeah, no, Wi-Fi free, sorry. Wi-Fi is now out of my life. Yes, I unfortunately still have it on my phone. I don't know how I can get that to go to third cables or anything like that yet. I haven't worked that shit out yet, and I don't think I'll be able to. But I'm talking about my computers, so I'll be able to stream stuff crisply. Wow, that's not easy to say. And cleanly as well to my viewers and everything like that, and everybody who I work with and whatever. And I'll be able to talk to people on Discord and Skype and all that, a piece of cake as well. But like I say, guys, little tip for you: if you're ever thinking about streaming, don't use Wi-Fi, because it'll be the biggest headache you'll ever have. Believe you me. If you don't believe me, ask some other streamers as well. Go and find some other streamers, talk to them. They'll tell you this exactly the same as I'm telling you. But anyway, guys, right, Jinder Mahal. A lot of people are really having a go at this, because we all know Backlash, which was yesterday. As this is going out on the 22nd. Backlash was yesterday. Yes, he was in the main event. A lot of people don't seem to like this because he's a jobber. And you know what? At the end of the day, technically, he is. What's Jinder Mahal done in the last 10 years? Nothing. He hasn't done shit. But for some reason, whoever's running Smackdown decided to give him an opportunity. And we all know the real reason why he's got this opportunity, because Jinder Mahal is India, even though I think he's Canadian, but there's a bit of Indian heritage in there as well. And WWE want to branch out to the Indian, market, if you will, and promote that way as well, and use that to their advantage, which, to be fair, is a smart deal. Right, I'm going to give you one prediction right now. If anybody's listening to this podcast and expected Jinder Mahal to win Backlash, I don't know. You guys know what's going on. You guys know what's happened if you've watched it. But if you sat there and thought, oh yeah, Jinder Mahal's going to win this. Nah, I think everybody with a brain knew that Randy Orton is going to win that match at Backlash, or will win that match at Backlash, or has won that match at Backlash, depending on how you see it. Because let's face it, yes, it's a heel-like group. You've got Mahal with 2 servants, kind of like a Muhammad Hassan kind of feel to it, in a way. But if anybody listening to this expected Jinder Mahal to be WWE champion, he's going to beat Orton to become WWE champion, no, guys, it was not going to happen. I think everybody knows from a mile away, they couldn't put AJ Styles in there because for some strange reason they gave a match with AJ Styles for the US Championship with Kevin Owens, which, to be honest, is not necessarily a bad idea, but it's not necessarily a good idea, because we'd rather see AJ Styles in the WWE title picture. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a match with Orton and AJ Styles for the championship. I've had a match on Smackdown, but I wouldn't mind seeing it on the big pay-per-view caliber match, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, this is what they're doing at the moment right now with Jinder Mahal at Backlash. And if you think Backlash is something, wait till Money in the Bank, because Rusev's getting a title shot at Money in the Bank as well. From what it seems, it's pretty much a done deal, except he'd be without Lana, because Lana's still preparing for a debut on SmackDown. Apparently she's going to be a wrestler now as well, so she's not going to be hanging around Rusev all the time now. She's going to be that wrestler. Maybe she'll be SmackDown Women's Champion, I don't know, but it's going to be Rusev against Randy Orton, and Rusev going it alone as well. And again, I don't know why there is a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, to be honest with you, because it's a one show pay-per-view. It's not Raw and SmackDown. It's a SmackDown show, apparently. It makes no fucking sense to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know why it's a flaming show. Granted, you've got WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, the 4 shows. Yes, you've got to put them as 2 shows. You got to put them as 2 shows. That's a pretty much foregone conclusion, done deal. But why can't you put Money in the Bank as 2 shows? I mean, obviously there's going to be the Money in the Bank match. Who's going to cash in Money in the Bank for the it seems to be, since it's a SmackDown show, the WWE Championship. But what about Raw? What about the Universal title? What about the opportunity for that as well? Basically, what they're doing on this is basically sticking 2 fingers up at Raw and that Universal title and say, oh, you know what, SmackDown's the real deal, SmackDown's got the number 1 title in the company, which technically it has. We'll keep it there, It's not fair on Raw, is what I'm saying, but it is what it is. And yes, Rusev will be getting a shot at Money in the Bank. I don't know how this is going to work out, but it makes no sense having Money in the Bank on if it's not going to be there. You know, if it's not going to be a 2-show, it has to be a 2-show. Other than the big 4, if Money in the Bank's coming, it has to be a 2-show. If it's not a 2-show, there's no point of having it. Period. And it seems that Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman has been put on hold. And they had a main event lined up for Extreme Rules as well coming up. A 5-man main event, 5-way match to determine the number 1 contender, which sees Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. As much as I'd like to see Samoa Joe win that, as much as I'd like to see Seth Rollins win that, I think everybody knows where that's going, right? I think you listen to that. Yes, it's match. I will review Raw and Smackdown coming up later on in the show, but I think you may know where that's going. Braun Strowman out. Let's make Roman Reigns a champ. Although there has been rumors that there's a possibility it could be Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar, which I wouldn't have a problem with. But logic tells me there is a Seth Rollins Samoa Joe feud or a Finn Balor Bray Wyatt feud brewing and happening. We all know who the wild card is in that. Roman Reigns. And I'm not going to go into a rant on here with Roman Reigns because quite frankly I'm getting sick of it, you know? Like I said at WrestleMania, was that going to be an epic match? No, deep down. I got puzzled in by people saying, oh, you just give it a chance and everything like that. No, I saw that coming a mile away. Why? Because I'm a passionate wrestling fan that likes to think he knows a likes to think he knows about what he sees. I mean, that's what you get when you're a wrestling fan all your life. WrestleMania's match was a clusterfuck, and that's not Undertaker's fault, okay? Yes, it sucked at seeing The Undertaker retire. Oh, wow, I still get choked up about that every time I watch it when I watch it back. But yes, did that help Roman Reigns in any way? Oh, let's put Roman Reigns over. And now they're going on to Plan A was Roman Reigns Triple H. WrestleMania. Did that work? No. Plan A, Roman Reigns, Undertaker. Plan B, rather, Roman Reigns, Undertaker. WrestleMania. Actually, no. Plan A, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, WWE Championship match. Did that work? No, because they brought in Seth Rollins. Plan B, Roman Reigns, Triple H for the WWE Championship. Triple H puts him over. Roman wins the title. Did that work? No. In terms of getting him over, I'm talking about here, guys. Roman Reigns, Undertaker. Undertaker wanted him to put him over and he got his wish. Did that work? No. And it probably would have worked if he turned heel. But no, WWE still positions him as a babyface, even though he's getting booed out the building. It makes that makes no sense to me, and I could go on for that. I could go on about that that's a podcast in itself, believe you me. And now they're looking to put Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and have Brock put Roman Reigns over and give him the Universal Championship. When will this end? And I also found out last week that there's plans for Roman Reigns to have a run with the Intercontinental Championship. This shit will never end, will it? This shit will never end. Let's just face it. Let's tell it like it is. Roman, this whole crap with Roman Reigns will never end. Oh my God, he was the US champion, and now they want to put the Intercontinental belt on him. I really, it's flabbergasting to me. It really is. You know, all these people out there saying, "Oh, I need to stop this Roman Reigns rant and everything like that." I mean, what I do on this podcast is what I do on this podcast. I'm a passionate wrestling fan that likes to have his views and opinions. If you don't like it, guys, don't listen. I'm sick and tired of being told what to do. I'm sick and tired of people helping me and thinking they know everything and all that. Look, I appreciate help. I appreciate all of that. But at least respect my opinions, please. That's all I ask. If you don't have to agree with them, but at least respect. I mean, I love it when I'm right half the time. You know, I see things a mile away. And this is what happens when you're a wrestling fan. It's just so frustrating as a wrestling fan when you've got people who think they know everything and clearly don't. I mean, I don't portray myself as knowing everything, but Jesus Christ, I'm a wrestling fan. And I'm proud to be one. It's just meeting fans, man. I mean, you've got these TNA fanboys as well. Oh, Drew Galloway's. Those are the kind of people I don't want to be around. Oh, Drew Galloway brought prestige to the title. The motherfucker had it for a month. How could he bring prestige to a TNA World Championship, or the belt that is now called Impact Wrestling's World Championship? How could he bring prestige to a championship when you only have it for a month? Bringing prestige to a title is going all the way around the globe, you know, just like he did with ICW. The ICW title, he definitely brought prestige to that belt. Hell, he made it a World Championship. You know, that's the caliber. But no, TNA fanboys, fan bitches. I mean, you had one what Michael said as well, wishing death upon Roman Reigns. Those are the kind of wrestling fans I don't like. Those are the kind of wrestling fans I do not want to be around. And if you are listening to this show, turn it off and get the fuck out of my life. Trust me, get the fuck away from my podcast, get the fuck away from my channels, get the fuck away from everything that is associated with me, because I do not want to be around you, okay? Yes, I don't like the way Roman Reigns is getting pushed. Yes, I don't like the way Roman Reigns is getting pushed at the moment right now. In my opinion, it's worse than John Cena's run as well and all that. Yeah, people hating John Cena. I actually respect John Cena, but just because I hate all these people and I have an opinion about wrestling and everything like that, doesn't mean to say I wish death upon people. And for that idiot, I know your name, I'm not going to mention it, for that idiot that had to do that as well. Michael told me on Wrestling Unleashed about it. You're an idiot. And those are the wrestling fans I don't like, seriously. But anyway, guys, enough of me ranting and raving and doing all this stuff right now. There's my views, there's my opinions. The whole Jinder Mahal thing we have to get used to as well. And yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day, guys. That's just wrestling. That's Vince McMahon for you. I'll be back right after this with Raw and Smackdown. High points. I almost said something else there. I don't know why. I was going into a different direction. Also coming up as well, Ring of Honor, War of the Worlds pay-per-view that I saw this past week, which was a little interesting, ladies and gentlemen, and to say the least, and very enjoyable too. You know, it's been a while since I've watched the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and I actually enjoyed this one to a degree. You know, I mean, it's Ring of Honor at the end of the day, you're going to enjoy it nonetheless. But yeah, Raw of the World, and I tuned in to see the Adam Cole situation as well. The Adam Cole is a Tanahashi match. I'll talk about it more later on, and also Bullet Club. Bye-bye. All still to come on this podcast. Stay tuned. If you enjoy the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast right now on YouTube at AJW Wrestling Matters. You can also check it out on SoundCloud at Wrestling_Matters_podcast. That's /Wrestling_Matters_podcast. Also, check it out on Radio Big World as well. For more information on them, you can check them out on SoundCloud and the Swerve Talk Network as well. For more each and every week of the Wrestling Matters podcast, weekly podcast that talk about the best in professional wrestling today, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, and the list goes on and on. Only the best in professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to part 2 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys, and let's get it out of the way. WWE. Let's do it. Raw results. Let's kick off with Raw. I thought, in my opinion, this week, both shows were lackluster, in my view. Both shows were very much lackluster, in my opinion. Raw general manager came out and announced an Extreme Rules Fatal 5-Way to determine who will face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Raw Tag Team Champion Jeff Hardy beat Sheamus. Again, another build-up to their eventual tag match at Extreme Rules. I mean, the last time they did this, the singles, so I'm guessing we've got Matt Hardy versus Cesaro next week again. Because we had Matt Hardy versus Sheamus, Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. So now it's going to be Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, Matt Hardy, Cesaro. Yeah, go figure. Alicia Fox. I hate doing that. I'm sorry, Michael, but I hate doing that. But anyway, damn you, Noam Dar. She beats Sasha Banks. Poor Sasha. The Miz defeated Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose via disqualification, because I think it got to the point where Dean Ambrose just got sick of the Miz, looked at him and just kicked him. He basically did what Cody Rhodes did to Jay Lethal. Kicked him where it hurt. And quite frankly, I think he's getting sick and tired of it as I am. Miz hiding behind Maurice all the time. I mean, during the match, Dean Ambrose wanted to dive on the Miz, but then Maurice is stood in the way and everything. I'd have just dived on her anyway. Fuck that shit. Bayley confronted Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, and apparently they're going to meet at Extreme Rules, and apparently it's a kendo stick on the pole match from what I was told, or from what I saw. Cruiserweight Champion Neville and TJ Prick took on Austin Aries and gentleman Jack Gallagher and beat them. Yeah. And what was an awesome match, don't get me wrong, I'll give him the due. Roman Reigns defeated Finn Balor. I'll give them both their due. Did I want to see Roman Reigns win? No, but I guess Finn Balor beat Roman Reigns the first night on Raw, so I'm guessing you've got to give Roman Reigns his due, if you will. Big Cass defeated Titus O'Neil, kicked his face off, nearly, and Apollo Crews is still wondering why the fuck he's still with Titus O'Neil. Seth Rollins defeated Bray Wyatt in a via disqualification. Yes, Joe got involved in that. But the highlight of this night for me, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, was the Golden Truth, or the Golden Goof. I do not like this tag team. And apparently they were scheduled for tag team action. And Truth comes out, does his gimmick, and, you know, and says, wherever they were at, what's up? Next minute, Goldust jumps him and beats him up. Goldust heel turn. That was good. That was good. Really good. Because I've never liked the tag team. Goldust deserves better. And I think the crowd agree with it because you heard a thank you Goldust chant in the crowd, but that was good. That was really, really good. Where that's going to go, I don't know, but I can say this right now, no more Golden Goof. Golden Truth is over, thankfully. And like I said, I think the highlight of the whole night was the Roman Reigns the Roman Reigns Finn Balor match, to be honest with you. It was a great match, despite the outcome. But it was a great match, I'll give him the due. Right, speaking of lackluster, Smackdown, I thought was very poor this week. I really did. Very poor. And I say very poor considering the fact that, it's Backlash. Oh, it was Backlash yesterday, as this is going out as well. Kevin Owens hosted the highlight reel, despite Jericho being out. Jinder Mahal went one-on-one with AJ Styles, and thanks to Kevin Owens' help, Kevin Owens striking Styles with the US title in the knee, Jinder Mahal gets the victory. Do not like that. Contract was signed for the 6-woman tag team match at Backlash, and it got out of control. Carmella defeated Naomi, which was a bunch of bullshit because you've got Carmella defeating a former women's champion there. And the only thing Carmella's ever been good for is hanging around James Ellsworth. The less said about that, the better. Breezango defeats the Colognes. Just a little bit of momentum going into their tag match. And what was a great main event for Smackdown, Randy Orton defeats Baron Corbin one-on-one. But other than that, I thought Smackdown was boring this week. I'm sorry. There was nothing exciting about Smackdown. Smackdown's been great, but it was a little bit boring this week. And I was disappointed in it despite the fact that it was the go-home show before Backlash. I thought they would have made it a little bit better, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Hopefully they can both improve next week, or this coming week rather, or tonight in fact, starting tonight with Raw and everything, so I'll have to wait and see on that one. And since I'm here, guys, I'll throw this in as well. I'll throw what would have been my Backlash predictions. I was going to do a predictions for the YouTube channel this week, podcast this week, but I just haven't had the time. So the matches, from what I'm gathering, are as follow. I believe Ty Dillinger is going one-on-one with Aiden English. I'm guessing Ty Dillinger will end up winning that one. That's on the pre-show, or the kickoff show. Tag Team Championships, you've got the Usos defending against Breezango. Nah, I can't see Breezango winning this. The Usos will retain. Kevin Owens and AJ Styles for the US title. I'm guessing Styles will win this. That's my prediction for this. You only know what happened, guys. This is going out on Monday, so you only know what's happening. You only know the outcome. Nakamura needs to beat Dolph Ziggler. Sorry, Dolph. Naomi, Charlotte, and Becky will beat the Welcoming Committee. It seems Luke Harper and Eric Rowan will go one-on-one again. I think Luke Harper will get the victory on that one. And Baron Corbin beats Sami Zayn, unfortunately. But don't be surprised if Sami Zayn wins, because he needs a win, to be honest with you. He hasn't had shit since he came to SmackDown. But don't be surprised if he ends up winning. So like I say, guys, those are my predictions for SmackDown Backlash. You know the outcome from it, okay? Hopefully, sometime this week or maybe next week on the podcast, I will review it. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, guys, that is the end of this part. This is Raw, SmackDown, and Backlash. Quick Backlash predictions also. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be back in part 3 with Impact Wrestling and ICW as well. Plus a few other things here on the podcast. And also, still to come, Ring of Honor, not only the TV show, but War of the Worlds too. So stay tuned for that. I'll be back right after this.
Wrestling fans, look no further for the most unpredictable wrestling podcast you've ever heard on the Max Wrestling Podcast, hosted by me, Dazzy Dangerously, with everybody's favourite captains, The Phoenix, The Butcher, and Mike Larkin, plus special guests, promos, and trivia.
Find out what's been going on in wrestling history as I take you down memory lane every week.
And The Butcher's Stupid Idiot of the Week gets it!
And see if you agree with me as I choose every week's Figment of the Week in the world of wrestling.
The Max Wrestling Podcast is available on
YouTube, Podomatic,
Mixcloud, and Soundcloud.
And the Swerve Talk Network with other great shows.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Max Wrestling UK, or go to our website, maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling.
And that's the bottom line.
Because we're out of time.
Yalakalikimaka.
Listen in, man.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kinny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shuggs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Oh! attention. I got something to say from another dimension.
Welcome back to part 3 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys, and yes, you know what time it is. It's time for ICW and Impact Wrestling. You had the music at the beginning, the intro, so it's time for ICW. Let's do ICW first and get that out of the way. It was only an hour this week, which was a little disappointing, but it was a good show for an hour at the most. Higginston Reese beats up a local talent. Pete Dunne has a great match with Wolfgang. Pete uses the crew and the fans as like offense, you know, like double teaming on Wolfgang and everything, which was hilarious. But the power advantage was with Wolfgang, and it was a hard-hitting match, there's no question about it. But Wolfgang counters the pedigree attempt and knocks out Pete Dunne to get the victory. A match which was great, don't get me wrong. And so BT Gunn beat Lionheart with the Techno Doom, which is a version of the Sister Abigail, but instead of doing the Sister Abigail move like Bray Wyatt does, BT hooks the head like if he's doing a DDT and then does it, which is epic, great, very innovative. He gets the victory in what was a great match, and yes, the highlight was BT kicking out the Styles Clash, but that wasn't the story, because this feud between Joe Henry heated up because Joe returned, gets back in Lionheart's face, tells him to say the things that he said behind Joe's back when Joe wasn't around to his face, but didn't do it, and accepts the challenge for the non-sanctioned match at Shug's house party, which should be good. Polo Promotions beat the Bucky Boys. Buckies were dominant in this match. This was a great back and forth tag team match between two legendary tag teams in ICW, but Polo hit their finisher for the big win. And Kelly Williams manages to shrug off the challenge of Zach Gibson. This match was coming because of Zach attacking and interrupting the Zero-G title matches that Kenny was having. Kenny taps out, but he wasn't in the ring. These guys fought outside and on the beer stand. Say if you go into a club or pub or whatever it is you're doing, they usually have beer stands on the outside, like beer tables on the outside, for you can go outside and have your beer outside if it's a nice hot day. Well, these two ended up fighting on there, and Zach had Kenny in his finishing move. He tapped out, but it wasn't in the ring. If he did that in the ring, he'd have been Zero-G champion. But Zach dominated the match, there's no question about that, working the arm and everything. There was a chair used in the match also, but Kenny manages to win with a Quackbuster, which is the tilt-the-world tornado-ish DDT move that he does, and it has been using to full effect, and it's the move that won him the Zero-G title in the first place. Other than that, pretty good ICW show. Not bad, like I say, for an hour at the most. Hopefully it'll be a lot bigger next week. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Impact Wrestling, highs and lows. The low point of Impact Wrestling this week, and as it has been every week, was the Spud promos because of his injury with what happened with him and Swoggle, when Swoggle literally beat the crap out of him with a hammer. I'm seriously done with these promos. Please stop. Please. I beg you. Shane Helms was involved in the Ultimate X. Great Ultimate X match, guys. If you haven't seen it, go and find it. You know, go back and watch it. Go and look for the replays of Impact Wrestling and just watch Impact Wrestling for that match alone. Yes, Shane Gregory Helms got involved, which was not needed, but low-key outsmarts them all and pulls himself across the metal. He climbed up with the metal. Andrew Everett and Trevor Lee were climbing across the ropes. Low-key climbs up to the metal top and starts pulling himself across, comes down through the metal, is landed right where the X Division title is, picks up the title after he gets rid of both his competitors and wins. He outsmarts them both. That's why he was the more experienced competitor in that match. There's no question about that. And a great match and a great win for him nonetheless. EC3 loses his mind against James Storm, which causes a James Storm disqualification win because he strapped the referee. Magnus got involved, comes down, beats up James Storm, gets into an argument with EC3. Bruce Pritchard comes out and makes a match for next week, a 3-way. And then Bruce turns around and tells EC3 to find his balls and pays for it because EC3 just grabs him and just shoves him down to the canvas. Sienna, in a match that couldn't give two flying fucks about, beats ODB for the GFW title, the GFW women's title that is, to attain it. Congo Khan, even though Sutter put up a fight, I'll give him his due. I don't like these. I don't like this angle at all. But Congo Khan destroys Braxton Sutter nonetheless. And Mahalabi Shiri returns, and he's now involved in this saga, if you can say that. I was done with it a long time ago. I was done with this feud when Maria Kanellis, who was the cause of this angle in the first place, left Impact Wrestling. Now, LAX, even though Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid put up a great fight, but it was predictable, LAX go on in the first round and beat Kid and Junior in the first round of the GFW Tag Team Title Tournament. They did their thing, Kid and Junior, but LAX are the TNA World Tag Team Champions, and they've been on a hell of a roll, and they're the hardest team in TNA or Impact Wrestling at this moment in time. So you would expect them to win, which they did. And it seems LAX have their own version of Lita in Diamante, because she did a Lita, basically. Jumped off the top rope, Hurricane Ranted Junior onto the outside, which I thought was great, to be honest with you. It did remind me of Lita, there's no question about that. But the main story of TNA Impact Wrestling this week was JB returned to come back and counter Josh Matthews. He reveals his lawyer. He had a lawyer, which allowed him to come back to the announce booth and become the head honcho of the announce table. That head honcho saw him and was helped by one Joseph Park. Yes, Joseph Park is back, ladies and gentlemen, and says that he wants to fight Josh Matthews and challenged Josh to a tag team match at Slammiversary, pitching JB and Joseph Park versus Josh Matthews and a tag team partner, which we all know, spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, because it was all over the news, it's Big Papa Pump. So, all in all, 2 okay shows. ICW was good for an hour at least. I thought Impact Wrestling could have been a little bit better, but, you know, it was okay. Ultimate X definitely saved the show. If there was any bad parts to it and it was like a boring show or anything like that, Ultimate X definitely saved it. And that about wraps it up for this part, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be back in part 4 with the start of the first of 2 top 10s. So stay tuned.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kinny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back to part 4 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Let's get right into it, guys. I've got a top 10 for you. I've got 2 top 10s, actually, that I'm going to do. One is about wrestlers that will never get pushed again. I'll do that next. But right now, I've got 10 things that WWE wants you to forget about good old Matthew Moore Hardy. That's right. Good old Broken Matt himself. So let's get right into it. Number 10, that he's broken. I think the majority of WWE fans probably didn't take any notice of TNA, to be honest with you. So that's why the WWE have brought him back, even though there's still legal disputes and everything else in between with WWE and Impact Wrestling with WWE wanting to buy the rights to the broken gimmick and everything like that, or wanting the gimmick in process. I don't know. It's all complicated. It's all confusing. I don't think WWE fans took any notice of Impact Wrestling during the tenure when Broken Matt was Broken Matt, basically. You know, the whole Brother Nero, Broken Matt, Final Deletion, stuff like that. I don't think they really wanted him. So that's why they brought him back and had him do his V1 impersonation again. Number 9 was Pro Wrestling vs. Zombies. A horror movie that was awful. Featured Jim Duggan, Shane Douglas, Rebby, Rowdy Piper, Kurt Angle of all people. I haven't seen this movie, and from the sounds of it, I'm pretty glad I haven't. Anyway, next, number 8, Being Humped by Viscera. I think the only way this would happen is if Matt back then would have done something wrong to WWE, or made an error to WWE, or this is WWE punishing him. Because in the Royal Rumble, I can't remember which year, Viscera humped the hell out of him in the Rumble. It's part of his gimmick, you know, Big Vis and everything, and yeah, it wasn't fun. Next is his feud with Kane. The whole feud with Kane leading into him kidnapping Lita. Yada, yada, yada. Lita getting him pregnant. Matt tried to propose and then realizing that Kane is the father of the baby. They had an affair. Yada, yada, yada. It's all confusing. And then all led to the match that them two eventually had. Oh, boy. Which was at SummerSlam, quite frankly. And then the wedding, which Matt eventually got chokeslammed off the stage. And then Lita loses the baby. And then eventually falls for Kane. Well, yeah. Wasn't the best feud of all time, but anyway. The pizza eating contest that he had with MVP. This was during the feud with MVP on Smackdown over the US belt. These two had a lot of stuff and a lot of things happen to them. You know, they had the pizza eating contest. There was a boxing match with, which involved Evander Holyfield. They had all the chess game and everything. Oh my days. And the basketball shootout as well that they had on Smackdown program. Oh, man. It wasn't the best feud. It was like, who can beat who can beat, everything. And apparently, during this pizza eating contest, Matt Hardy ended up puking all over MVP. Next is the suicide note. Yes, during Matt Hardy's bad patch, his bad little thing, there was one point where he almost committed suicide and he left a note. This was when he was going through his bad time that he had, and I'll read the note because they had the note up. Goodbye world, my time is here. My time here is almost complete. I only have a few hours and minutes. I loved you all. Regardless how you felt about me, I'll miss you all. Thankfully it didn't happen, but yeah, that's what WWE wants you to forget, because it almost did. Next is breaking Joey Mercury's nose. And now remember this. I believe this was at ECW, if I remember correctly. No, it wasn't. It was a WWE pay-per-view. It was during a ladder match, I believe it was. Mercury and Nitro, Eminem versus the Hardys. I think this based off what happened at December to Dismember. I said about that, the better. Where they jumped on. They had the setup. Matt Hardy had Nitro, Mercury, Morrison, whatever you want to call them, and Mercury together. They both put him in. They had like a slingshot, like if it was like a seesaw. And Jeff Hardy jumped over Matt. And Jeff was meant to jump onto the ladder and have it bounce up like a seesaw. It did bounce up like a seesaw, and it bounced. It was meant to not hit them both in the face. And I think Morrison got the block in and everything to prevent it, but unfortunately Mercury didn't. And other than that, he shattered his nose and received 2 black eyes, and all his face was swollen up and everything. It wasn't the prettiest of things, but it was what it was. Next one is firing him over the Lita affair, which eventually led to him feuding with Edge. All the attacks that he had when he came back and everything, when he jumped Edge out of control. He jumped Edge on Raw and everything and shouted Ring of Honor and this, and this. I mean, the whole thing made money-ish for WWE, and Edge was getting this push anyway. But I think WWE regret the fact that he actually fired it. And they eventually brought him back. That's why we had the match and everything. The matches that they had, and then the Leisure Leaves Raw match and everything, the ladder match. But I think the biggest regret was the SummerSlam match, because the SummerSlam match was awful, in my opinion. WWE always preferred Jeff Hardy, and that's the truth, man. That's the full-blown truth. I don't know why that was. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jeff Hardy was a talented motherfucker. He really is, and still is to this very day. But WWE always preferred Jeff over Matt. It was the case of Jeff Hardy is on a pedestal and on the top of the ladder to WWE, and Matt was always at the bottom, or average level, if you will. I mean, don't get me wrong, Matt did win the ECW championship, but it's going to look stupid when he's bringing the ECW title on, and Jeff Hardy's got the WWE championship, and he's a 2-time world heavyweight champion too. Don't work that way. But yeah, I mean, that was probably mainly the reason they had him turn heel. When Matt turned on him at the Rumble and everything, which led to their WrestleMania match, which led to their Backlash I Quit match, and then the final deletion things and everything like that. It was what it was. Hopefully that will all change once Jeff gets the situation, once the WWE gets the situation for the broken stuff, because I believe right now with the broken gimmick that Jeff Hardy is still on that pedestal. He still is on that pedestal, but I believe Matt Hardy's now level with him now with this broken gimmick, because I believe the broken gimmick, which was a thing of beauty, and I've always said this, it saved TNA, despite what people say and Impact Wrestling and Anthem, Fuck the Owl say and everything like that, but it was, it's brought him back to that pedestal, so hopefully WWE can keep him that way. There is rumors that Jeff Hardy's going to get a singles push anyway. Hopefully it won't affect Matt, because Matt's done. Matt wanted to get away from WWE. He's went away, done the broken gimmick, and then he's had WWE knocking on his door. Shows that he's doing something right. Next, he killed Jeff's dog. Yeah, I think I remember this one. It was Jeff Hardy. It was leading up to this feud and everything, and Jeff was getting the pyro accident and stuff like that. It's all these random things happening to him. And one time, he had his house burned down, and the dog died in the house, which I believe was an actual thing. Then I think whether this was part of the story or not, WWE had Matt be the guy who caused this. So basically now Matt Hardy has this thing over his head that he killed Jeff's dog, which led to their feud. Things WWE do, I tell you, just for storylines anyway. And that about wraps that up, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was the 10 things that WWE wants you to forget about Matthew Moore Hardy, Mr. Broken Matt himself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I will be back in part 5 with another top 10 from World Culture. 10 guys or 10 wrestlers in WWE who will never get a push again. Hopefully they'll never get a push again. But half of them, from what I've seen in the chart rundown, half of them need to get a push again. But WWE is at the moment, it ain't gonna happen. But I'll be back after this with it. So, top 10 wrestlers who would never get a push again. Stay tuned, that's coming up next.
Hey guys, this is Mike Larkin.
And this is Stevie Nicks.
To check out the S&M Show podcast and more great audios, check us out on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/MCLarkin92. And we are now on the Swerve Talk Network, Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. UK time, along with the Max Wrestling Podcast, Offshoot Radio, Sunday Segway, and the Wrestling Matters Podcast. And also follow us on Twitter at SMShow1 and at SteveNicksSM. You won't be disappointed. Peace.
Welcome back to part 5 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying this podcast so far. Now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the top 10 WWE stars who will never get another push. I was going to do something else, but I'll leave that for next week. 10 biggest heat magnets in WWE's history. But I'll do that for next week. That will definitely come next week on 165. But this week, today, I'm talking about 10 stars who will never get a push, and number 10 is James Ellsworth. Why did this guy get a push in the first place is what I want to know. But I guess it's one of them little, Barry Horowitz type deals. But, yeah, he was involved in the angle with him and with Dean Ambrose, him and AJ Styles. Manages to beat AJ Styles on Smackdown as well. And then there was the heel turn, which I believe was a TLC. And everything, and he's never had anything else since. It's basically, what have you done for me? And then some bright spark came up with the idea, oh yeah, let's put him with Carmella. Makes no sense. I think the fun part for all of this, because he's not well liked, James, bless him, but I think they enjoyed seeing Braun Strowman kick the hell out of him at the Survivor Series at one point. But yeah, don't expect another push from James Ellsworth anytime soon. But credit to him, he's in the WWE. You can't fault that. Next is Cesaro. Poor bastard. This guy will never get another push again because of his comments, basically. He didn't like the fact that he was drafted to Raw. He wanted to be drafted to SmackDown. And he wanted the best opportunity that he can get to be in that top echelon. In a way, it's kind of worked out for him on Raw because Foley saw something in him and put him in with a tag team with Sheamus. And they've been great ever since. But Cesaro does deserve more. But Vince McMahon pretty much put a stump to that on the podcast, Stone Cold's podcast as well. Yeah, it's a shame because the guy's got so much talent, but if you don't get over with Vince McMahon, you're done basically. Next is Paige. This whole saga, this push thing that she got, this all came about when she started dating Patron, and I've mentioned it on the podcast. She got suspended for wellness policies for 60 days. It all basically came about when she started dating Patron Del Rio. Basically, you can't fault that. She was seen at an Impact show because her boyfriend was there, or husband, or whatever the fuck he is. I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't really care anymore. But she needs to come back. If she doesn't come back, she needs to get away. And maybe go to Impact, basically, be with him. But yeah, I'm pretty much done with the old saga, to be honest with you. The whole Paige saga. Next is Darren Young. Nexus, Primetime Players. Where do I begin with this? And he hasn't had anything since. They tried to give him another push with Bob Backlund. That was no. Yeah, don't expect anything from him soon. The only big push he got was fighting The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, and look how that turned out. Next is R-Truth. Oh boy. Well, I think his push ended when Goldust turned on him, basically, because there seemed to be a push for the tag team title run kind of thing. But I think I think a certain somebody put an end to that. And he hasn't had a big push for the championship since he fought John Cena for the championship at Capital Punishment one time. He hasn't had anything since. I thought he was going to get a huge push with Goldust, but we all know how's that turned out. Yeah, Goldust has turned on him. Golden Truth is no more, like I mentioned earlier on the podcast. So what's next for our Truth? Who knows? Pretty much the same next for our next guy, which is Sheamus, because he's done the same thing with Cesaro. You know, him and Cesaro, a great team. You know, his first major push is when he came into the WWE, became WWE champion within 6 months at the expense of John Cena. That was the 18 seconds at WrestleMania. Yes, Triple H tried to give him the belt as well when he cashed in on Roman Reigns to win Money in the Bank, which led to the League of Nations faction, and a faction that was there to put, or at least try to attempt to put Roman Reigns over. One of many factions that have, and many things that have failed in attempts to put Roman Reigns over. But it seems things seem to be working out for him in a way. Now he's with the tag team with Cesaro. But when you've got Roman Reigns on the same bandwagon as you ain't getting a push anytime soon. That's all I'm saying. Next is Mickie James. She returned to WWE. Is she going to get a push? Probably not. I don't know what she's done in the past. There was the Piggy James saga and everything. She left for TNA, Impact Wrestling. Yeah. It is what it is, and she may very well be joined by her husband if rumors are to believe. But now she's on Raw at least. Yeah, she ain't gonna be getting any pushes anytime soon. It's pretty much like the Dudley Boys with her, to be honest. She's there to put people over, basically. Will she get a title shot? I hope so. But next is the biggest prick in WWE at the moment, the king of the dabs, TJ Perkins. Hopefully this heel turn will help him out and prove this wrong, but at the moment right now, will he get a push? No, I don't see it happening. I mean, come on. Like I've said many times, this is the only guy that dabs when he puts a finishing move on somebody. I mean, what the fuck is that about, man? He needs a change, he needs a repackaging. Now he's a heel because that entrance doesn't work for him one bit, and he's not the top guy in the actual cruiserweight division at the moment. At this moment in time, at least. Next is Curtis Axel. This guy hasn't had a punch since he was Paul Heyman guy. He was the Intercontinental champion under Paul Heyman. They thought of him as his dad, basically, and it failed, basically. And don't get me started. They tried to put him with tag teams with him and Ryback. Failed. Him and Damian Sandow, the revamped, regurgitated version of the Mega Powers, that failed. And don't get me started on the Social Outcasts, because that failed even worse. But yeah, this guy's on main event. Will he get it? I don't know. If Jinder Mahal can get it, surely somebody like Curtis Axel can get another push. They even gave him the Axelmania gimmick, and that still didn't get over. And I'm guessing number one is good old Dolphy. Yeah, Mr. Dolph Ziggler. And the reason why this guy can't get a push, whether he's a heel or not, is this guy's too nice from what I'm seeing. You know, he's always nice to people on the outside. In the ring, now he's a heel. He's a bit of a dick. But, you know, it's so talented. But this guy cannot get a break. Maybe this guy leaving WWE would be the best thing for him, to be honest. Maybe he can do a Cody Rhodes and go elsewhere. Or hell, at one point, there was a top 10 countdown of people who should join the Bullet Club, and this guy was number one. If that can work for Cody Rhodes, why can't it work for Dolph? But Dolph needs something. He needs something. Maybe the best bit for Dolph Ziggler is to go away and prove himself to WWE. Because I'm pretty sure Cody Rhodes is going to do that same thing. Well, will we see Cody Rhodes back in WWE? I'm pretty much certain, but he has a point to prove. He has definitely a point to prove. But with that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that. That was the 10 WWE wrestlers who will never get a push, for now at least. Hopefully this will change, but for now, they ain't getting any pushes anytime soon. I will be back right after this quick time out with the main event of this podcast, Ring of Honor. Not just the TV show, I will talk about the TV show, but I want to review War of the Worlds. Or War of the Words, rather. It's a mouthful, I know. But I'll be reviewing that next. Are you sick of professional wrestling? Do you want to speak your mind about professional wrestling? Well, if you like a wrestling podcast, why not tune in to the wrestling podcast where wrestling matters? The Wrestling Matters Podcast. Each and every week, I talk about the best in professional wrestling from WWE, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and the list goes on and on. Also, on the other occasions, I bring guests in as well to shoot the breeze about the one thing that I love, that we all love, professional wrestling. So join me each and every week for the Wrestling Matters podcast on YouTube, AJW Wrestling Matters, the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel, SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast, and any other podcasts that matters. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Twitter at WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
No, be quiet. This is Adam's special moment. Oh, how touching. What a curtain call. Yes, I really wish I could be there with you right now, Adam, but unfortunately, I cannot. Young Bucks, I must admit, I'm a little disappointed. The same man that tried to fire you less than 2 months ago is now standing in the middle of the ring, being showered with adulation from the crowd. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam. Well, Adam, you see, I feel like I have to send my special thanks too. Because, let's face it, your tenure in Bullet Club, your tenure in professional wrestling has been long, has been fruitful, has been storied. But just like all fairy tales, Adam, there has to be a hero, and there has to be a villain. Adam Cole, consider yourself officially fired.
What in the world did we just see? Omega watching this live somewhere? Where is he?
We're still pitch black here in New York City.
I have no idea what's going on right now. Somebody turn the lights back on.
What are you doing? Whoa! Out of the darkness into the light.
What are you doing, Marty?
Take a look at that.
Marty Skrull, the villain, with a Bullet Club umbrella. Stereo super kicks on Adam Cole.
And Kevin, he's taking off the jacket
We can only assume.
to reveal the black and white of Bullet Club. And the ROH World Television Champion has made headline news around the globe. And has assumed the throne. I knew you boys would get it all wrong, Adam.
Adam Cole on the decline and rising as mightier as ever. Marty Skrull, the Young Bucks, the Bullet Club.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. This is the final part, and I'm going to do the main event. That's right, the main event, ladies and gentlemen, which is Ring of Honor. I will talk about that in a matter of minutes. The following episode is on the Swerve Talk Network each and every week. Offshoot Radio, Sunday Segway, S&M Show Podcast, Wrestling Unleashed. You know where it's at. Check them out each and every week. Check this out on the Wrestling Matters channel as well. SoundCloud as well. Look us up on there. Look Radio Big World up on there as well. Facebook.com/WM Podcast. Facebook at WM Podcast on Twitter as well. But that's what I wanted to do, wanted to get them out the way as well. Be sure to check out. There's a lot more to come on the podcast in the coming weeks, so be sure to look out for that as well. Plus, I'll keep you updated to the stuff that I'm doing on the site that I mentioned earlier on, Beeb. I'm looking to bring some stuff to the site as well, but I'm just setting things up at the moment, but I will let you guys know in due time. Right, I wanted to get all that out of the way, because I wanted to talk as best I can about Ring of Honor. That's right, Ring of Honor. War of the Worlds was fucking epic. I watched it start to finish. I tried to watch it on the websites, but the website wouldn't let me. It was blurring out a little bit and everything, so I just thought, fuck this, I want to download the rest and watch the rest. And I did. And it was epic. There's no question about it. Kushida, Dalton Castle, Silas Young, and Bobby Fish had a four-way at the beginning of the show. Young gets the heat from Kushida and everything. Young just basically runs his mouth. There was 3 baby faces in this match, basically, and 1 heel, which was Silas Young. Kushida did a good dive. It was back and forth stuff. I loved it. Good way to start off the show. I got to admit, I was surprised with the outcome. Yes, Dalton Castle's been hot lately because he's coming back he's coming back on the rebound basically from a Ring of Honor title match with Christopher Daniels. I didn't expect him to win this match. He hit his finishing move and got the victory, and it was a huge win for Dalton Castle. There's no question about that. A huge win. Maybe that'll elevate him back up to world title status. Who knows? But like I say, big win for Dalton Castle. There's no question about that. Grudge match, Kaz and Hangman Page. Kaz takes it to Page. Wrestling match. This is getting personal. It turned into a spit fest as well. Beautiful slingshot cutter from, well, it was Page going for the slingshot and then he jumped right into a cutter basically. But it ended with Page holding the ropes after Kaz did a sunset flip. Page grabbed the legs and held the ropes and manages to walk away with the victory. That match is far from over. Let me tell you that feud. There's going to end up being to the point where there's going to get into an epic match between the two, like a cage match or some shit like that. So it's not over by a long shot. Hangman won the battle that night. It's far from over. No ways he won the war yet. An interesting 3-way tag team match. Sabin, Grisham, very young Grisham, one of the young guys, as a team. I think it's Seek and Destroy their tag team name is. Very interesting. It's very weird seeing Sabin with another guy, despite the fact that Alex Shane was actually there. But them two took on Sonata and Evil and War Machine. And War Machine just proved their dominance in this match, quite frankly. Sabin and Gresham looked good, and Sonata and Evil looked good too. The only problem I had with this match, it was mainly Sabin and Gresham against Sonata and Evil, to be honest with you. But the only problem I had with this match, that it was meant to be a 3-way. It was a 3-way tag team. If it was me, I would have made one person from each team get in the ring to start off for their respective teams. So, for example, I would have said Grisham, Hansen, and Sonata to start off in the ring at the same time. Both men could tag out too, but it had 2 men to start off, really, and it had the other 2 team, the full team of the missing team. Say, it had Sabin and Hansen to start off, and Sonata and Evil one on the outside. I didn't like that concept. It was a good match, but War Machine proved that they are the bad boys, and they are the badasses of tag team at the moment, the current IWGP Tag Team Champions, and they are a big, huge, fucking deal. There's no question about that. And they dominated most of the match and also played it smart as well. Sabin's double team with Gresham on Hansen just pissed him off basically. You don't piss off these monsters. They're a monster tag team, and at the moment right now they are one of the best, if not the best, tag teams in Ring of Honor. Now for an epic match. The first epic match of the night, you could probably say. It saw a classic, to be honest with you. New Zealand Jay White against the UK's Will Ospreay. Unbelievable match. Some of the good points here and some of the bad points as well, but some of the good points. It was mainly all good points. I'll run through what I got in my notes here as well. Great wrestling, fast, hard-hitting start. White catches Will Ospreay and basically throws him into the guardrail. Will does a dive. White catches him and just turns it and basically puts him back first in the guardrail. Kind of reminiscent of what Jericho did to Daniel Bryan once on NXT when they were doing the mentor and stuff back then. And you can see the bruise on the back of Will Ospreay as well, which was just unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. White used some wrestling holds to ground Will Ospreay. Handspring volley kick by Will Ospreay. Both men It was an even match. Strong style wrestling, because they both probably learned it from Japan. I mean, I think White's a graduate from the New Japan Dojo, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard them right. Jay White clothesline almost kills Will Ospreay. Just flips Will Ospreay. Basically, he does a flip, basically. Like a shooting star press kind of flip. It was just amazing. Awesome match. Near falls. White drives... oh, by the way, on the outside... I think it was a DVD, if I remember correctly. White catches Will Ospreay, takes the DVD, but instead of like putting him on the apron back first, he just drills Will Ospreay's head right in the apron area. Looked absolutely nasty. Taz, it was a Cobra Clutch as the commentator called it, but it was mainly a Taz Mission Plex by Jay White. Looked absolutely nasty. Shades of the old Taz move because he just dumped him on his head. Unbelievable stuff. White counters Will, but cannot get the win, but looks for a stoppage kind of thing. It was like the stoppage. He counters his finishing move, I believe was the Os Cutter, and then just turns it into like a handspring, like if he was going to cradle them up for a pinfall, but starts drilling the elbows right in the face and looks for that stoppage. How Will took that, I'll never know. Will runs up the top, does a shooting star press off the top rope onto the outside, rolls Jay White back in, hits his Os Cutter, and gets the victory. A thing of beauty. It really was a beautiful match. Ruined in a way by Martinez. Punishment Martinez came out and attacked Will and White after the match because there's still some beef with him and Jay White because Jay White beat him on an episode of Ring of Honor TV. Other than that, if you haven't seen War of the Worlds and you want to see a great match, there's another one later on, don't get me wrong, with Adam Cole and Tanahashi. But if you want to see an epic match, watch this match. I might just... I've got it downloaded on my computer. Ring of Honor, War of the Worlds. I might just watch it again for that match. It was... Wow. New York loved that, let me tell you. Goto and Roppongi Vice took on the Briscoes and Bully Ray in what happened to be a no disqualification match. Briscoe starts it off, gets in their faces, just dabs and everything. Chop City bitch. I mean, Jesus Christ, Bully Ray is good at chopping. I've taken a chop in professional wrestling, guys. It sucks. It's the worst thing in the world. It really is. And... I'm very grateful. I've never been on the level of a WWE or Ring of Honor of that kind of level or anything like that, but I'm very grateful I've never ever took a chop from Bully Ray. Because I took a chop once at a show and I woke up the next day with handprints across my face, across my chest rather, and holy shit, if I took one from Bully Ray, you just see this big handprint across your chest. Chair was being used. Trent dives. Roppongi Vice in control. Jay again uses a chair. Jay Briscoe. A running buckbuster outside from Mark Briscoe. Beautiful running buckbuster off the apron. Does that flip over blockbuster, grabs the neck and into a neck breaker. Just beautiful. Powerbomb through a table on Trent, 3D or 3B as it's known, and the Briscoes and Bullies retain their titles, and they are still the six-man tag team champions. I'd like to know who's going to take them titles. I'm interested to know who will be the next in line to take them titles. Because at the moment right now, I think Ring of Honor have got an unstoppable six-man tag team on the horizon there. Bully Ray and the Briscoes. Matt Sydal and Marty Scurll. Straight wrestling match at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Really was. Wrestling match. Stories of the match were... Well, besides Marty dominating most of the match, everything, nearly all of it, to be honest with you. Great counters in the match, but the story was Marty was working on the arm to set up that chicken wing, and it worked very effectively because Marty counters the shooting star press and then wins it with the chicken ring and retains, and still is your Ring of Honor World Champion, or World Television Champion, if you will. Great match. To be honest with you, it wasn't the best match of the night, but it was just wrestling personified. There's no question about that. Great wrestling, and Marty proves that he is the hottest thing in wrestling at the moment. And he's even more hotter now. I'll get to that later on. Bushi and Nato took on the Briscoes, the Young Bucks, for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Bushi and Nato actually took the Young Bucks to the limit and dominated most of the match, quite frankly. Nato shows off and everything. Young Bucks show why they are the champions. Loads of dives, just fluid diving at its blatant best from the Young Bucks, because the Young Bucks are just too sweet. The challenges toy with the Young Bucks a little bit as well. It was just good stuff. Sliced bread into a DDT combo kind of thing. The DDT was caused by the partners, by the way. All the Young Bucks, great offense. Young Bucks fight back. Great combos by the Young Bucks in this match. Nato with a sick reverse Hurricane Rana, a running senton, spike power driver, and the Young Bucks are still the champions. as well. Well, yeah, the best team in wrestling today, in my opinion, the Young Bucks, are still Young Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. Although, credit to Naito and Bushi for the challenge as well, because they could have walked away with the belt as well. That could have went either way. There's no question about that. Ring of Honor and IWGP announced a US title tournament. That's right, the IWGP have their own United States Championship belt, which should be interesting. And there's a tournament going down. Jay Lethal is a part of that tournament as well, and Hangman Page did not take too kindly to that whatsoever. Now, for the main events of the evening, I'm going to talk about the Adam Cole Tanahashi last. I'll go straight to the three-way dance for the world title, which saw Chris Daniels, Cody Rhodes, and Jay Lethal. Not really much went down in this match, quite frankly. It was basically built around Cody Rhodes and Jay Lethal because Christopher Daniels played a game of outsmarting, picking his spot, if you will. And it worked very effectively, and there's no denying Chris Daniels that. It did work very effectively. It was very use of the figure four from Cody Rhodes as well. Some high points of the match. Arabian moonsault by Daniels on both men and one on the outside, which was just beautiful. On both members, just beautiful to watch. Daniels is so good. It really is. It was a very slow match at times as well. Disaster kick by Cody. Hail to the King. Crossroads gets nail falls for Cody Rhodes and Jay Lethal. They could have walked away with the title, to be honest with you. Lethal kicks out of the Crossroads. Daniels. The ending was hilarious because Jay Lethal he injures his knee during the match as he does the dive on the outside. He tweaks his knee, and obviously Cody Rhodes took advantage of it. And towards the end, Cody manages to get him in the figure four leg lock because he wanted him to tap out. But Daniels, who got knocked through a table after Lethal whipped Cody into Daniels, goes right through the table, gets back up, gets in the ring, does a BME, and covers Cody while Cody has the figure four leg lock on Jay Lethal. And obviously Cody's got nowhere to go. And Daniels walks away with the championship, which was just fucking phenomenal. It really was. Phenomenal ending, but a great match. But I thought it could have been better, to be honest with you, as a three-way. But, hey, like I said it would happen, that match was basically built around Cody Rhodes and Jay Lethal, in my opinion. Now, for the highlight of the whole show. Great wrestling match between Tanahashi and Adam Cole. Absolutely spot-on wrestling match. Both men wrestling, both men pulling each other's hair. It was a game of one-upsmanship. Even Tanahashi mocked Adam Cole with his Tanahashi baby kind of thing. Cole was in control for most of the fight. Most of the fight was on the outside and everything, but it was great action all around. This Tanahashi taking control, relatively even in the control department as well. Hushigoroshi by Adam Cole, which was just perfect. Eat your heart out, AJ Styles, although AJ Styles does a damn good version of it too, I might add. Straight jacket German suplex gets Tanahashi near fall. Just beautiful. Great balance and technique as well. Awesome wrestling match. Great counters in this match. Awesome counters in this match, quite frankly. I should have put them in my notes. Tanahashi kicks out of the last shot, which is Adam Cole's finishing move. Super kicks Tanahashi, Adam Cole that is. He jumps off the rope, just catches him in the gut and everything, and goes to the thing. And then Tanahashi ends up winning it with a frog splash as well. Just a great match all around. Not the best match of the night, because in my opinion the best match of the night and the match that stole the show was Will Ospreay Jay White. But a great match, and it did live up to the expectations. But that was not the story of the match now, was it? Tanahashi winning. Because an angle appeared, because Kenny Omega appeared on the Titantron and basically fired Adam Cole and says, for every story there's a hero and a villain. Marty Scurll stood right next to Kenny Omega. Lights go out. The lights come back on in the arena. And Marty Scurll stood there with his mask on. Takes his mask off. Adam Cole, the Young Bucks look puzzled. Marty Scurll has his umbrella. Opens it. And there's a Bullet Club on the umbrella thing. Marty Scurll is now a member of the Bullet Club. Says bye-bye to Adam Cole. And the Young Bucks super kick Adam Cole. Adam Cole basically got kicked out of the Bullet Club. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. And you know what the best thing about this is, guys? You need to go on YouTube. Check out Being the Elite, the Young Bucks YouTube show as well, featuring the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and everybody else. There's behind-the-scenes footage of how all this came about. You know, how it was all set up and everything, to the point where the Young Bucks super kick Adam Cole and basically make an idiot out of him. If you haven't seen it, go and find it. It's on YouTube. Being the Elite, the Young Bucks, the Bullet Club YouTube show is what it is mainly. Go and find it. It's unbelievable. how it all set out. Shows you how it all was planned out and everything. Even some of the stuff that you didn't see on the Ring of Honor show as well. It's awesome stuff to watch. But that was the angle. And not only that, not only do Adam Cole was kicked out, but not only do Bullet Club have Marty Scurll, they also have the Ring of Honor World Television title as well. And they didn't have to lift a finger. Right. 5-star match, 5-star show all around. Just simply awesome. Love it. Absolutely loved it. Right, I'll run through Ring of Honor TV quickly. Ring of Honor TV was good as well. Saban and Grisham beat Cheeseburger and Ferrara. There's something building between them two, and I'm talking about Cheeseburger and Ferrara, if I'm being honest. Silas Young beats Bobby Fish with a little help from the Bruiser. Basically does exactly what Cody Rhodes did to Jay Lethal at Final Battle. Low blow gets the victory. And the Rebellion dominate the match, don't get me wrong, but like I've said, nobody can stop the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. That is Bully Ray and the Briscoe. And the Briscoes and Bully Ray put Caprice Coleman through a table as well. All in all, spot on Ring of Honor. Absolutely spot on Ring of Honor this week, and good shows as well. Looking forward to next week's show as well, or this coming week in fact. And that about wraps it up for the podcast, guys. My name is Anthony Walker. You guys have been absolutely beautiful, and I love this all. Wrestling matters, professional wrestling matters, WWE, ICW, Ring of Honor, it doesn't matter what. If it's wrestling, I like it, because I love to talk about wrestling. Till next time, guys, my name is Anthony Walker. Wrestling matters, and I'll see you soon. Peace.